This is Andrew Paul Cronin, and you're listening to the Q&A with A.P.C., the show that features conversations with artists, cultural figures, policymakers, performers, and other innovators living in Virginia. Episode 19, Stephen Marsh. My guest, Stephen Marsh, began his restaurant career at age 15 as a dishwasher. Over the next 20 years, he has held every position in a kitchen, from busboy to head chef. In 2013, he opened LeGrand Kitchen, a 28-seat finer diner in Norfolk, Virginia, that features an open kitchen, a seasonally changing menu, and a best-selling cheeseburger. The restaurant was an immediate hit, and it continues to maintain its immense popularity today. In September 2016, Stephen opened Shiptown, a seafood and oyster bar located just down the road from LeGrand Kitchen. The restaurant partners with local oystermen and fishermen and features 65 seats, specialty cocktails, and outdoor picnic tables. In this episode of the Q&A with A.P.C., Stephen discusses growing up in a trailer park, why he doesn't have fryers or telephones in his restaurants, how to respond to a negative Yelp review, we play a round of rapid fire, and much, much more. Did Hoyt go?
Oh yeah, Hoyt goes everywhere with us.
He does.
Oh yeah. I don't know. We can't fathom how. I don't know how a lot of people do it. Like, we see people with kids that are like less than a year old sometimes, and they go on like a week vacation. You know, like somebody I knew, like we saw they went to Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how can you go that far
without the child, or with the child?
No, without child.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm always like, well, if something goes wrong.
Yeah.
And, you know, what's the protocol of getting back home at that point?
Right.
You know, I mean, it's not like you just haul ass home. You know, you just see it all the time. You know, like I usually go right home. Every now and then, sometimes, like, people at work, like, hey, you know, we're going to go out.
Yeah.
Or if, like, we play a show or something like that, and then, like, we go out, I'm like ready to go home. You know, it's just weird because, like, the next day, like, if I stay up too late, it'll just put a toll on me. I'm just like, you know, just like a zombie or something the next day. And I mean, with kids, you know, you always got to be on your A game because they're full force.
They are.
And,
yeah.
You know,
I think some are more than others. We have one that is definitely full force.
Yeah.
How much of your days off are spent doing things for the restaurant?
I'm trying to tone it back now. When I first opened, like the first year and a half, it was 7 days a week doing something, you know, because I just get really obsessive sometimes. Mm-hmm. and I'd like get really obsessed about making stuff, and it's never easy. So it's either like breaking down whole shoulders or something and then grinding it, making sausage or something, you know, something like that. That's definitely takes time.
And that would be something that you would be doing on site or at home?
No, on site. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you would actually be in there, like the door would be closed, but you would be in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Working.
So like for the first year, that was definitely me. Like every day, you know, on my days off, committing 4 or 5 hours, even on my day off. Right. But it's not just me like sitting there. It's like, you know, me doing some ridiculous project because we're not going to have enough time. When we do it, like when we open on Tuesday, we're not going to have enough time to get this done or whatever like that, you know?
Yeah. Was that hard at first for you, relationship-wise, all of the above? Or did you get kind of a pass for that?
I think and I still do, just because my wife knows it's how important it is. I mean, it's our livelihood. And not so much of a monetary thing. It's like more of a pride issue. I want to contribute the best that I can, you know, and not compromise. So if that means that I got to spend a couple hours. You know, it gets real taxing sometimes, like trying to balance the two, you know.
Right.
But like I said, I get really obsessive sometimes. I go, we have to do this. And I think it's important that we keep pushing the boundaries around here because, I don't know, we're like 5 years behind everything else, if not more. And, you know, I think it's my duty to, I mean, if anything, just to like inform people and bring people outside of their comfort zone of like filet mignon and tuna steaks or whatever, you know, like cool. Or you can get this for cheaper and it's a better cut. And I think we're doing a good job doing it. You know, for like the last 2 years, like we've sold some really gnarly stuff on the menu that
Yeah, no, right.
You know,
we're going to get into that. Stephen, describe where you grew up.
I grew up in Virginia Beach. I grew up in a trailer park in Virginia Beach.
Like legitimate trailer park.
Yeah, like Lynn Haven area. I mean, we had the only good thing we had was paved roads. So, you know, a lot of those have like those dirt roads. We actually had like paved roads or whatever. But yeah, just like a legit trailer park, you know. I wouldn't change it for the world, though. It was the craziest upbringing. And I just drove by. It was crazy because I still drive through the old neighborhood like a couple times a year just to see what it looks like, you know?
Yeah.
And I just drove by like a month ago. Like we're out in Virginia Beach. I'm like, I'm going to cruise by the old neighborhood. And like where I used to live now, like so the trailer, like it was like a house on the corner lot. Like it's not there anymore. Like we had we had me, my brother, my sister, and like me and my brother shared this little room or whatever, and like, you know, they made do with what they had or whatever at the time. It doesn't seem that big now when I drive by, but when I was a kid, it looked like the backyard was pretty big. So like, yeah, my mom would have like, she had a decent garden back there. That would have everything from like a couple stalks of corn to like blackberries that went around the whole side of the fence back there, tomatoes, everything like that, you know, like they would compost, you know, everything like that was like our own little.
And were you interested in that, in food at the time, or was that?
No. You know, like I'd go out there and like would help, I guess, some or whatever, but not, you know, I wasn't really into it.
What was school like for you, and who was your crew in high school?
Well, I started skating, like skateboarding in like 5th grade. And like at the time in the neighborhood, it was just like literally like me and my brother. We got into skateboarding.
What was your first board?
Oh man. So my first, like we had a skateboard growing up, and it was like a Veriflex with like this voodoo. I swear to God, my brother still has it because he's a pack rat. Like just he's a hoarder, you know. He just has all this stuff from our childhood where I don't know where the majority of my stuff is. Like if I went over his house right now,
he probably has it.
He'd be like, yeah, here's the Veriflex board with the voodoo dude on the bottom, you know, like doing like a 1-footed air or whatever. But like my first board was like it was the era of the 8-ball. Mm-hmm. Everything had an 8-ball on it.
Right.
So I think it was like I think the brand was called New School. I got it from the 17th Street. That was at Lynn Haven Mall, which is still there. Mm-hmm. But, you know, green with like this black 8-ball on the bottom. Going to school with, you know, skate clothes on. You can identify each other or whatever.
You got your first restaurant job when you were 15 at Blue Pete's?
Yeah, it was like this old school right on it was called Muddy Creek Road out there. So it was like right on like the swampy Back Bay area. You know, you'd go there, like clock in, and you'd always see like copper heads on the back porch, you know, and somebody had to go out there and like cut their head off with the shovel or whatever and like kick it over in the water before customers came or whatever, you know, just like. So a kid down the street from me, I think it was New Year's Eve, he was like, hey man, the restaurant I work at down the street, they need help tonight, like a bus boy, you know, you want to like come help out? I was like, sure, you know. And I went, and I just felt so awkward, you know, like in the front of the house, I'm like walking around, you know, like in front of all these people. I was like some greasy 15-year-old kid, you know, like greasy ass 15-year-old kid. And I was like, great, everybody's staring at me. I don't know what I'm doing or whatever. So I did like one day doing that. And I was like, dude, I don't want to do that again. he's like, would you be interested again? And, and I was like, no. But a dishwashing position opened up, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'll definitely do that. Like, I'm in the back. I don't have to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
I'm not under, like, the microscope at that point. Like, the dishwasher is the backbone to a restaurant. You have to have clean dishes. If a dishwasher calls out at work, it's like, no, you're like, great, well, who's going to do it, And it's just one of those things. Like, it's a very important job. So, yeah, I like started dishwashing and, just getting submersed in the culture of like kitchens, like real like seedy scumbags, just like characters, like, I mean, if you ever want to grow up fast, work in a kitchen, because you're like 15 and all of a sudden you're submersed with all these people. They promoted me to like line cook and then go, if you want to come back next season, at that point, you're like one of them,
Sure.
And you're this kid though. And they rely on you. And I remember like trying to do like dumb kid stuff, like trying to call out sick. I mean, I remember this one time, I think the first time it was like, I really realized like I let somebody down. Like I like dated this girl that lived right across the street from me in Pungo, right? And she's, very needy teenage girl.
Yeah.
Why can't you got to work. Why can't you just be with me tonight? And all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So like I try to like get out of work. And they're like, no, man, you don't need to. And it was like the middle of summer. And I like drove to work with the heat on in my car, right? To like make myself sweat really bad. And like just like windows rolled up, heat on. Like when I got to the parking lot, like I like made myself throw up in the parking lot, and I walked in. I was just like, I'm sick, man, or whatever. And like, I'm like the head chef dude at the time, the kitchen manager just gave me that look. Like he knew that I was just making it up. But he's just like, all right, well, if, this is what you think is the right thing to do or whatever, like, take the night off then or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember, like, obviously taking the night off, but, like, just feeling like, I really let this guy down that I respect.
What he said and the way he said it was so much cooler than anything that you were doing to try to get out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Like, just knowing you're a part of this machine that's supposed to operate. I knew at that point, like, I can't be doing that, It's like, I can't let people down because I, want a night off.
You got your driver's license and took a job at an Italian restaurant in the upper middle class Hilltop section of Virginia Beach. What were the takeaways from working there?
It was like a high volume restaurant. The guy that hired me was CIA grad, Culinary Institute of America in like Hyde Park in New York. And he was just like a super cool guy. Like once again, a guy I really respected at that, young age. He was like a really great mentor to me, taking a chance, to hire me. Like he took a lot of interest and a lot of time and just like the execution of how he would explain things and stuff like that. Like consistently, I would always like get a phone call from him in the morning, like, where you at, man? And I'd like look at the clock and it'd be like 9:05 and I was supposed to be at work at 9. And I'm just like running out of my house, with like the wrinkliest clothes on, chef coat and whatever. And I remember one time, like the last time that happened, he just like pulled me aside and he's just like, look, dude, really like you and you do a great job, but I'm going to have to fire you if like you can't be to work on time. And same thing, like that really stuck with me. And I felt like I just let him down, just like, but for like an 18-year-old kid to move up the ranks like that, you worked with a bunch of dudes that were like 20-something, 30-something years old, and you're this 18-year-old kid that's like right next to them.
Right. And you start to notice that, and you starts to put it in your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but the thing was I was always gunning for more responsibility, and they didn't want to give it to me. And I don't know if it was like a pride issue because I was younger or what, I mean, that always really pissed me off.
You don't strike me as a guy who would be shy asking why you were getting passed over.
Right. But at the same time, I was like teen or whatever going like, well,
At age 22, you became kitchen manager at Vintage Kitchen in downtown Norfolk.
Yeah. I worked there a couple years with that guy, Todd.
Mm-hmm.
He was a really great mentor to me. We just talk food, talk about restaurants, and like talk about like some like books, like different books, like this author Michael Ruhlman, books called Reach of a Chef, Soul of a Chef. Whether he like let me borrow them or like told me about them and I got them on my own, like just like really getting submersed in like cooking culture, not just cooking, but like chef culture. Like I think that was a point where he helped me transition into just being this dumb kid that like cooked for money to being like, okay, let's think about what we're doing here.
And had you decided at that age that this is what you wanted to do at 22, or was it just sort of a job?
No, I got good at it. Like I thought, I mean, I don't know what everybody else thought, but I felt like I was really good at it, not just cooking, but like working on timing, like, cause cooking, like when you're like at a restaurant, it's like a whole production. Like every night, like has to be right. Like you have to have all your stuff into place. You have to be ready. That's the hardest part, like, is being prepared for it and like the timing of everything. LeGrand is pretty transparent, so like if you sit there and dine there, you can see the work, the effort go into it.
Yeah.
But like if you're sitting at like basically any other restaurant in the area, you don't really get to see that. You're just like sit there and you go, what the hell's taking so long for my food or whatever?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about opening LeGrand Kitchen. So what was the original vision or idea for LeGrand Kitchen?
That was definitely like flying by the seat of my pants. Well, we didn't even have like a server at first. It was like the whole thing's crazy. So the first week we opened was dinner, just because I was like, okay, we got all of our licenses now and stuff. I'm trying to make some money. Let's just try to sell out, like we sent out a blast going, get here early or whatever. And then thinking like there's going to be a line out the door. And it, we sold like 12 things and I had all this other crap left over. And I was like, sweet. Well, maybe the next night, maybe people are coming in or whatever. But the second week we opened, I wanted to do a lunch thing. So we opened for lunch for a week and it sucked. I hated it. Like, I hate doing lunch.
You hated doing lunch because the fare, the food, or the time of day, or
Well, the time of day, making it worth your while, business-wise, stuff like that. At least the first month or two, like, nothing was over, like, $12 at LeGrand. It's crazy to think about now, but nothing, like, because I was playing it safe.
Yeah. What was on the menu that first month?
The very first ideal of LeGrand was to do themes, like, once a month. Like, change the theme up, or, like, every couple weeks. You know what I mean?
No,
it's like, so there's this restaurant in Chicago called Next, and like every month or so, they change the theme of the restaurant. I mean, they go really in depth, like France 1918, and they have like pheasant with smoking leaves, that evokes fall.
Okay.
In the forest and stuff. We weren't gonna go obviously that, but like the first menu we did was like summer cookout menu. Okay. So it was like burgers, chicken sandwich, like a salad with like really good tomatoes and like buttermilk dressing, stuff like that. Just like honest, just like good food, but not. Right. It just evolved to what it is. It's crazy, but like, and it's still evolving. It's one of those things. We never slapped a label on that restaurant. We never said we are going to cook this style of food. I left it really vague by just calling it kitchen,
Yeah, and it's also kind of vague and mysterious what a finer diner could be, because a finer diner could be anything.
Exactly.
I picture kitchens and restaurants as these testosterone-filled, shouting, cursing environments, and the kitchen at LeGrand is open, and while it's off to the right, it's very much front and center, and especially before the expansion. Sure. But still, it's front and center. What did you have to change, if anything, because everything you say and do is within sight and earshot of the customers?
Not really too much. I mean, it's all about getting a good staff in there and finding compatibility, I mean, sometimes, there's issues, but it's either like, hey, let's talk in the back real quick, I mean, because it's a show, like, not saying that it's not like, we just turn on like an act.
But there's a performance to it.
Yeah, there is, and part of that performance is showing professionalism, and, customers don't want to see, or the majority don't want to see like, they want to see a well-oiled machine, and people like doing their job. They don't want to see somebody getting screamed at.
I think it serves to your advantage to be front and center. I mean, was that because it's a unique thing other than like a hibachi kind of thing?
Oh yeah, and that's what people say. It's like there's no other restaurant like that in this area that you're right in the kitchen. That wasn't my initial thought. Once again, my initial thought was going, we're gonna like make burgers or whatever else, and like we weren't supposed to have a waitress there. Like it was supposed to be like you order and then you pay at the register. That's why you still pay at the register.
Talk about the name LeGrand Kitchen.
LeGrand is a record label from Norfolk. Like we're brainstorming about names and stuff like that, and like I had a couple like LeGrand records on the wall, and I was like, how about LeGrand? And like yeah, that's awesome, LeGrand. Do a quick internet search.
Right.
Is there any restaurant, like
right.
LeGrand? And
sure.
there's like one that was in like Ontario or whatever, something. And I was like, okay, we're cool.
And the record label was folded, so it wasn't going to be.
Yeah, it's not an issue, Right. And LeGrand is like, we didn't call it like LeGrand Records or anything. It was just LeGrand. We thought it like tie in with the irony of how teeny it was too, so. And we were like, yeah, like small place, big ideas, try to like do some sort of shtick,
Two of the big ideas were not having a phone or a fryer.
Yeah, and we're still staying true to that phone thing.
What's up with the phone thing?
Because it's just too much of a hassle. I don't know, like it's too accessible at that point or something, and like when we're prepping and like getting ready for the day, the last thing we want to hear is like the phone ring, because then we have to answer it,
Yeah.
But the real reason I didn't have a phone is because I was too cheap in the beginning. Like it was just another cost. But yeah, no phone, no phone at Shiptown either,
and no fryer.
No fryer. Yeah.
Why no fryer?
Well, it's so small and it's like right there. Like nobody wants to be clouded with this fryer. You know what I mean? Just like in your face, like
right.
But it's just like like the place was so small, and like fryers are so abrasive, like so like their smell and everything. Like, so I'm like, cool. So we're gonna open this place and have a fryer in here, and then the whole place is just gonna smell like grease all the time,
But so when you had the place and you saw all right, this is where the kitchen is going to be, this is where the counter is going to be, did you think we have to have a fryer? Where's the fryer going to go? Or because of the thing, you're like, all right, well, my cooking style is going to have to be different now.
And that's the thing, like the first kind of blueprint I had, I think I had a fryer on it, but I was like, that's not going to work, and it's too small. It's gonna, it's gonna smell. Where are we gonna put the fryer storage thing? Because then it imposes on like our neighbors the logistics.
Yeah.
If we got a fryer, and then I said, I don't even, I hate fryers. Do we even need a fryer? No, we don't need a fryer. Okay, let's build cuisine because a fryer is a crutch. All you have to do is dump something in there, and it's easy,
Mm-hmm.
It's stupid. It's easy. So we're trying to think outside the box. Like, okay, what can we do that it doesn't need to rely on a fryer? And I think we're doing a pretty good job.
I wanted to do a just like a rapid fire with you. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the worst current food trend?
Current?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I think the worst current food trend is just the labeling of fresh local or whatever. It's such like a marketing scheme to me. It's like, cool, it should be,
like hand washed lettuce,
or just like I don't know, just people use it as more of a marketing thing now.
What's the best fast food burger?
Wendy's triple. What
kind of bacon should I buy at the grocery store?
If there's Benton's bacon, but that's hard to find.
I go to Food Lion.
Gwaltney's.
I usually get Smithfield.
Yeah?
It's Virginia.
Yeah, it's good.
What should I be packing in my lunch and taking to work?
Wow. An apple.
I do that.
Yeah?
I already do that.
Okay, a banana.
What's the worst fast food?
Cookout. The saltiest fast food. I had a couple times where I've eaten stuff and thrown it out my window on Monticello Avenue.
What do Subway restaurants make you think of?
Diarrhea.
What's the appropriate response to a negative Yelp review?
Just let it go. I've written like paragraphs before and haven't hit send because I'm like, I went back. That's a whole different story. I went back and forth with this dude behind the scenes once. It was hilarious.
What would be the appropriate response to a Yelp review that just said diarrhea 112 times in all caps?
The thumbs up.
The emoji?
Yeah.
Cake or pie or cupcakes?
What kind of cake?
That's cake or pie or cupcakes?
I like pie. Well, I don't know. It's tough. If it's carrot cake or Edwards Hershey pies from the frozen food section.
Okay.
Those are the best.
Beer or wine?
Beer.
Pasta salad or potato salad?
Pasta salad, 100%.
IHOP or Denny's?
IHOP.
Pancakes or waffles?
Waffles.
What's the best thing to eat at a movie theater?
Not snow caps. Raisinets. We used to call snow caps street drugs.
What's the best thing to eat at a 7-Eleven?
7-Eleven, the cheeseburger big bite, which we also coined mummy dicks.
What's the best thing to order at a Chinese restaurant?
I want to say shrimp toast, but they're so greasy. Like the ones, you ever had shrimp toast?
No.
Yeah, order
I've
it
seen
next
it.
time. It's so good.
What is it?
It's like fried, chopped up shrimp, like with griddled bread.
Like
Different ways to do it. Like we'll do it at LeGrand sometimes where we like, basically you'll puree shrimp with like ginger and garlic and like spread it on toast and fry it.
like
and,
to a mash, like a paste?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you fry it in clarified butter on, like spread it like peanut butter,
Yeah.
On toast.
Yeah.
And then fry it in clarified butter on both sides. So it's like crispy.
Okay.
That's so good. But they just like deep fry theirs. But chicken lo mein, if not.
Is there a way to make latex hand gloves look cool?
Yeah, cut the fingers out of them.
How do you take your eggs?
I like sunny side up.
You'll cook livers, cheek, belly, tongue, but you also cook the hamburger, which you serve at LeGrand is simply called the burger. You tried baking your own buns before when you're testing it out, right?
Yeah, it's so much work. Before the restaurant opened, like did a bunch of testers at home and stuff like that, and the time. But here's Martin's Potato Bread Company has this big Marty bun that I used to eat all the time, like turkey sandwiches or like backyard cookout burgers or stuff like that, and it's just got more sesame seeds that you've ever seen in your life. Just like loaded with sesame, the smell and like the sponginess, because it's made from Martin's potato bread, but it's not actually a potato bread. Everything about it, I was like trying to kill myself coming up with this thing, and then at the end of the day I was like, dude, that's the best. I can't make a better bun than that.
Was the burger there the first month?
It was there the second day, and it's been a hit ever since. It's crazy. It's definitely got a cult following.
Can you describe the burger?
It's my ode to like a diner burger, thin griddled patties, but we griddled onions in with it, like shaved paper thin onions, and that's called like Oklahoma style.
Press them in.
Yeah, press them in, and then when they flip them, the meat and the onions caramelize together on like the flat top. American cheese, because the way it just like melts and like encases the patty, you know what I mean? It's just like it's just one of those things. There's nothing better than that. Toasted with butter, the bun, the jalapenos on it, pickled jalapenos. It's got to be Mount Olive brand. They have the thickness of them. They're perfect. The lettuce is romaine heart lettuce, like super paper thin shredded lettuce that we just toss in pickle juice for like acidity, and roasted shallot mayonnaise. Like some components all came from burgers like I've eaten other places. Like the roasted shallot mayonnaise I had my first time I ever went to Texas when I was like 18 or 19 at this place called Casino El Camino. Pickled jalapenos from a burger that's in the middle of like nowhere, like this town called Buchan in Virginia. There's like this pharmacy there downtown, and they still have like a diner attached to it. They have this burger called the Big E Burger, and just big sloppy burger. It's really good, like loaded with mustard and like horseradish, like heat on it and stuff. So I was like, pickled lettuce came from this article I read about this burger that this place in Atlanta does. You know, like they toss it in pickle. Oh, that's a genius idea. Okay, well, I'm going to try that. So it all came together.
What do you think the burger has done for LeGrand Kitchen?
It put us on the map for, I don't know, it's crazy. Like our sales, we'll do really good stuff, like really good food. We still sell a ton of those burgers like every day, you know, like it's a thing that's very craveable. It's accessible for the price point. It's one of those things like people crave, you know. We have people that come in like twice a week that want one, you know. It's one of those things like we tapped into a subconscious craving or something, you know, like McDonald's or something like that. Like,
And I feel like the burger is sort of a safety blanket for the customer.
it is. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I think a lot of people come in. We always call it like the gateway to LeGrand, because like people that aren't really into going out to eat or into trying new things, they'll come in and be like, well, I guess I'll get the burger, you know, because A, it's the cheapest thing on the menu.
Yeah.
B, it's a burger. Like,
Well, what we do, my wife and I, someone will always get the burger, and then we'll get one of the specials.
yeah,
And we'll just kind of pass back and forth.
right. We've had people like Party of Four come in, they'll get it as an appetizer, you know, and like we usually gain people's trust that way. Like they're like, damn, that's a good burger. And then, you know, they'll come in and eat it a couple times and be like, they know now that anything they have here is going to be quality,
Right.
you know.
I'm going to read an Instagram post that you had. Half barbecue pig head tonight on menu, period. Limit 5 orders, ... Feeds 4, ! Comes with pickles, toast, pimento cheese, and to-go boxes. And it looked like you had dredged some river bottom and pulled this pig head up. No one, Stephen, is talking about where we're going to go for dinner. And you know what I'm really looking forward to is pig head.
Yeah, well, you know,
that.
it's a novelty. Pig heads are very good. You know, that's where barbacoa was derived from. Barbecue. It's the same thing. It's like the cheek meat, all that. There's a lot of, you know, really good meat in there, you know, jowl, all that stuff. It's really, you know, it's one of those things like it's a novelty, yes, but like it's also like, you know, trying to do our part in like nose to tail.
Sure. But how do you serve it? You just serve the face?
So, yeah, like we'll like sous vide cook it or whatever, like overnight underwater, a certain temperature, so it's like really juicy and cooked, and like then we'll roast it in the oven so it gets crispy.
Okay.
And yeah, we just serve it with, you know, because you just all that meat you just cut right off and like spread it on bread or whatever else. It's like a barbecue,
Like pulled.
Yeah.
In April or May of 2016, you began work on a new restaurant, a seafood restaurant called Shiptown. How did the idea for Shiptown come about?
You know, since the beginning, like, you know, we like doing like at LeGrand, like always pride ourselves in like seafood, you know, especially with this area, the abundance of seafood, what we can get and stuff like that. So, you know, we've always made, you know, good seafood dishes, and I was always taking, you know, asking customers and stuff like, where do you go eat seafood at in this area? Because I know where I do, and it's, you know, I really don't, because there's nowhere legitimate too.
Which is weird because we are surrounded.
You're surrounded, you know, but you got all these places that, you know, same thing. I'm going to take this perfectly good piece of fish or whatever else, and I'm going to stick it in the fryer or whatever, you know. It's like, and like that's just the way these places operate, you know, like everything's like, it's funny, like a guy, the guy that does all our sheetrock and drywall, a guy named Nabby, like local guy, he calls it brown plates, you know, like everything's brown, you know.
Yeah.
He's like, you go to these places, all it is brown plates, everything's fried, you know,
Yeah.
and thrown on a plate, and that's true, you know. It's like, and it's such a shame because like there's no restaurants that like highlight what seafood should taste like. We're getting daily orders in for like fish and stuff like that, you know, like you're getting quality, you know. We're not cutting any corners on quality.
How's it going running 2 restaurants?
I've totally forgot the headaches and everything else involved with opening a restaurant. I think I suppressed it.
Yeah.
So
What are the headaches?
like the first, before you even open, it's like jumping through all the hoops to get legal. You got to do this before you get this and that and this. And
You read the reviews?
I read every review.
Is that a good idea?
Yeah. I mean, we take them to heart too. Some we look at and we go, that's beyond our control. Like noise level sometimes or whatever else. And it's all like pending on if there's a giant party in there that was like a bunch of 20-year-olds getting crazy.
Yeah. Right.
I can't control that as much as, but I can control if somebody had something that was bland or something, like I definitely take the constructive criticism, like if somebody says something's bland or something like that, you better believe the next day, the first thing I tell that cook is make me this, we're going to taste it. And sometimes they're right. I'm like, yeah, dude, you undersalt that, you need to add more salt.
On Instagram, there was a picture of a double fish patty burger.
Yeah.
Skip that?
No. I'll tell you about it. So it was a tester, right?
Yeah.
It's a mousseline, which is like a basically pureed fish with cream and egg, and then rolled into a log.
Okay.
It takes a lot of time, and it's very temperamental. So, you make these logs, and then you sous vide them for X amount of time to cook them. And then you chill them, and then you slice them, and then you have these patties, and then you sear them, whatever. It was great. I thought I knocked it out of the park, but they're so temperamental. Like, I brought in like 5 different type of fish to all figure it out, because the first one we did flounder, and like, fish prices fluctuate, so, I think the flounder was like $13.99 a pound. You start doing math on it.
Right.
We have to charge for a fish sandwich like $18 or something.
Okay.
And I'm like, are people really going to spend $18 on a sandwich, whatever else? But we tried different, like cheaper fish, cod, pollock, and like the water content. Like when you're cooking it, the water content, like just, it doesn't
hold.
Yeah, it doesn't hold. And it was like the most frustrating thing. I wanted to like, oh my God.
How do you ensure that people don't get bored and think of LeGrand and Shiptown as just another restaurant?
That's the thing that stresses me out every single day. It's making a fun, I don't know, it's like social media for me. Like, so it just doesn't seem like a restaurant, trying to bring people into like my life, my son,
right.
Stuff that we find funny or, whatever else with the world or with our life, and also posting, killer food pictures and stuff like that. I say dumb stuff all the time. Like, I think the recent one was like my son at the skate park, was like help,
right,
pay for his
right.
college fund or something, but it's like, but after posting that, we had a killer weekend this week. So I'm like, I should post more sad, like, I think I did one back in the day, like, help my son not eat out of the garbage can or something. Please come in this week or whatever. But, just like,
yeah,
like, just like not taking it so seriously, I guess.
LeGrand isn't too serious, but there is a thing for me that I feel like I have to kind of mentally prepare myself to go to LeGrand because that you are going to be interacting with the cooks. And like, there's a brashness to it. Like, that it's good. That there aren't many seats and people feel that.
It feels exclusive and all that, but I just don't want to make sure people are like, every now and then, like I got to knock somebody down a peg at the restaurant. Like, dude,
what I like about it is like you, because people, when we talk about LeGrand, people talk about you. And people talk about, well, like,
you should.
well, but like that kind of thing, like that exact kind of comment.
Yeah.
Like, because people are like, they don't know how to take you.
Right. Yeah.
Like you've got some air about you, which brings like this curiosity to it. And so there's this mystery built into it.
Yeah. I hear that sometimes, not from customers. Sometimes like every now and then we'll have like a new server or something. They're like terrified of me. They're just like, we had a server recently that, well, she doesn't work there anymore, but wouldn't talk to me. She just was terrified of me, and I was like, why? You know, I don't know. I don't understand. You know, sometimes you're like, you look so serious. But that's the thing. Like, I'm on my, like, when I'm at work, you're at your on your A game. You know, like that's why it works. If I'm not there and I'm not like have that game face and I'm not, you know, watching what's going on, and you know, that's the whole thing. Like, I guess that separates an owner from a paid employee or whatever. Is like I'm watching the whole operation, you know, and you got to get a read on every. That's the thing. Like, you got to get a read on every single person, you know, and kind of go direct. You know, it's like an orchestra. You got to direct, and like if you see something, you got to, you know, tell a server, can you make sure they're okay? Or I saw them drop something. Can you, you know, I mean, whatever.
Right.
I mean, it's just like,
Well, intentionally or not, because of the space and the open kitchen, like you've made yourself the focal point.
I'm very like humbled by it, you know, like if people don't think so or not, like I'm just blown away. Like, you know, like every time somebody comes through the door,
What do you cook at home?
oh man, I don't cook too much at home. Like I'm on a weird diet. I've had like all these congestive issues, like dizziness issues and stuff like that for a while now. So like I went on like an elimination diet.
What's
I'm
that?
eliminating certain foods that could, like, allergens. Well, I don't eat like glutens or dairies or like soy. It's stupid. It's like really intense right now. And like, anyway, so I just eat like chicken, rice, like beef. I'll eat like a 18-ounce New York strip every night after work, at work.
Okay.
Stuff like that. Meat, vegetables, rice. I'll make a shitload of hot dogs.
What's the go-to hot dog brand?
Boar's Head.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Trader Joe's makes this all beef hot dog that's really good too.
Are you changing as a chef?
All the time, yeah. Yeah. But I think it's important too.
What's a change that you've done or made?
The prices. No, I think the overall concept and like forever like evolving dishes and stuff like that, and even sometimes it's like making them even simpler, you know, like we didn't eat all that microgreens or whatever. That's just like that doesn't add anything to this or whatever, you know, just like I think simplifying things instead of going, oh, we need this little thing, that little thing, make it a lot simpler, you know, and people are I think it's just like stuff gets too cluttered sometimes when all it needs is just like, you know, whatever, something really simple.
Cluttered in the palate or aesthetically on the plate?
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are chefs a different breed of person than the rest of us?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like an addictive, it's weird. It's like very addictive.
What's
know?
addictive about it?
The rush, for us, it's obviously like customers, like who's coming in tonight. We had like some high profile people walk through the doors at LeGrand that we're like super pumped on before, you know, and you're like, you know, we don't get those days off that most people do, you know, Fridays, Saturdays, you know, when you go out to eat for those days because you work 9 to 5 jobs, we're the dudes cooking for you, you know, we're on the opposite thing, you know, there's like an opposite schedule.
How did you meet your wife?
Through music, like music scene and all that. I used to read her like columns, and before Veer, there was a 9-Volt magazine. Yeah, and like she used to do like music reviews and stuff like that in there, and like we had like same music taste and stuff. And then I don't know, she's like the first show I played out live was with like another band I used to play with, and she was there, and from what she said, she was all like, "Whoa, who's that guy?" or whatever.
Nice.
Yeah, and I was like, you know, I knew who she was and all that. And
She's a little older than you.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Wait, how much older?
11 years.
Look at you.
Yeah.
What are you going through right now?
Stress. Good stress in life. Going through the new business, you know, going through the old business, making sure that we're still on top of our game, making sure my son is the best that he can be, making sure that I'm a part of all that.
You have a 2-year-old son.
Yeah, named Hoyt. Now, like, knowing that, you know, there's X amount of employees now. Like the employees doubled, going, okay, these people rely on me for a job now. It's up to me to make sure that, we keep it going, we keep the momentum going, we keep the customers, still coming in. We want to make sure that we stay relevant, So there's a lot of stress, and Shiptown, when we open, it's like, is LeGrand going to lose all this business because Shiptown just opened up and everybody wants to go down there? And, which hasn't been the case, which is awesome.
Well, Stephen, I love your restaurants. I appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah.
This is Andrew Paul Cronin, and you've been listening to the Q&A with A.P.C. To hear archived episodes, go to soundcloud.com/QAAPC or subscribe to the show on iTunes. For exclusive content, including upcoming shows, behind-the-scenes pictures, and more, follow the show on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at QAAPC. The executive producer of the Q&A with A.P.C. is Ben Riley. The music was arranged by Soup.